The president speaks about Mitch McConnell's CR. He says overnight that he supports Mitch McConnell's approach to the stimulus in the CR and rejects the $900 billion horrible bill from Romney and that other team that now the problem solvers are taking credit for. And in the interview this morning, the problem solvers give a false narrative of what the president's actual position is right now, telling viewers that the president supports them when he doesn't. Boy, as if we couldn't deal with bad bills, now we're dealing with bad narratives. Meantime, the push is underway for stimulus checks or shutdown. Hundreds of thousands of viewers took to Twitter yesterday and social media across the board, viewers of this channel, as I urge the narrative to be very loud and clear: stimulus checks or shut the government down. No one of any of these groups is putting stimulus checks anywhere, but Mitch McConnell is our singular biggest hope, because when looking at the options, Mitch McConnell only needs to put three things in his bill to get us to the finish line: a stimulus check, eviction moratorium, which none of these people have as well, and mortgage forbearance. And we're good till January. Meantime, overnight, President-elect Joe Biden says he'll do a very massive stimulus package immediately in January. But for now, the Hot Mess Express is blaming the tracks. I'm here, you're here, the toast is toast and the butter is buttering, and we're gonna have a good day. Meantime, big news from Walmart, as you're getting a hazard paycheck right away. And new economic numbers out about the jobless claims overnight. It's a good morning. I'm glad you joined me on this Thursday edition of Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mornings LALATE. I'm so glad you joined me because there's so many developing twists and turns to the CR or stimulus in the CR that wants to get you want to pop to Advil, and it's only 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm so glad you joined me, but we really understand where we are here and where we're going, and the push is to get stimulus checks in this. I'll have more about that in a second, but overnight, more viewers continue to succeed with getting big rent grants, utility grants, food grants, escalated benefits for unemployment, and EIDL, winning big numbers across the board. You should be next. So please subscribe. Subscribe because I'm fighting tooth and nail, day and night, around the clock, nonstop to get you money right now, and it's working. $300,000 has been gotten by viewers of this channel. Viewers of this channel getting $5, $10, $15, $20,000 and saying, thank you, you are changing my family's life over the next 3 months, because now we have money on the table and we're not going to be evicted and we have a home and we have thousands of dollars in the bank account. Thank you. That should be you today. So please subscribe, because throughout the day I'm going to be updating you as new things come out, whether it's the state of Mississippi or the state of Kentucky, whether it's New Mexico or New York or San Diego County or Los Angeles. There's new things for rent, grant, and food all across the board. And I want to ensure that you get this money. So please subscribe to this channel. Also, like this video. It really helps in the algorithm rankings. In this video, I'll be going over that new money that I just referred to that's coming out in grants and has been announced across the board. While some viewers are confused where things are, we're opening the floodgates and showing you where it is that other viewers don't realize. And it's incredible, great news. Meantime, what happened with the president? The president came out in favor of Mitch McConnell and says he's rejecting that horrible Mitt Romney thing from yesterday. No surprise. Like the president would support something from Mitt Romney. That actually also had $200 billion for state and local. The president was never going to support that. Meantime, we're getting this to the finish line by pushing Mitch McConnell, his press secretary, and his communications director on social media to get a stimulus check in there, to get eviction moratorium in there, and to get a mortgage forbearance in there. And we're good to January, because now Joe Biden confirms that a big stimulus package is coming in January. That would include your $2,400 SSI and SSDI and Social Security and Railroad benefits. Meantime, if you work at Walmart, you're getting a wonderful holiday bonus or hazard pay, whatever you want to call it. So many breaking news, including the new jobless claims. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that the new jobless claims were issued minutes ago. And these are the new jobless claims issued every Thursday. And you all understand that before the pandemic hit, the new jobless claims per week were at about 200,000. It then shot to about 1 million new jobless claims for weeks, 30-something weeks. Then progressively came down to the 700,000 range. Today was the lowest number since the pandemic hit, about 718,000. Now, there's a couple problems that there's a couple things about that number. First, people aren't really paying attention to the number too much anymore because the Labor Department says the number is inaccurate. Great, that's so wonderful. And second, that people are switching from UI to pandemic unemployment assistance as UI is running out and PUA is running out as well. So much for that number. Meantime, if you work at Walmart, congratulations, you're getting a hazard pay check or a stimulus check or whatever you want to call the check. A blue check with those little yellow things sticking out. The logo, I love that logo. You're getting a check. Full-time workers, I think it was 375, and part-time workers about 175. So this is incredible, great news. Walmart follows other big box retailers are giving you bonus or hazard pay or stimulus checks, whatever you want to call them, one time, starting the next few days, and you're going to get it before the holidays. So congratulations to you. Then let's go to the big news in Washington. President Donald Trump is now supporting, in a public statement confirmed by Steve Mnuchin, Mitch McConnell. And on the CR stimulus, let me recap where we are. A continuing resolution is a budget bill. It's called the continuing resolution. The budget bill needs to be done every 3 months. The next time it's due is December 11th. You have to do it. There's no way to avoid that deadline. The budget bill is to fund the federal government. That's generally all it's for. It's a very, very small bill. It's not particularly complicated. It has to be signed and approved. It has to be voted and approved by the Senate, voted and approved by the House, and then signed by the President. It's done every 3 months. The last time it was done, it was negotiated between Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi, but got revisions from Mitch McConnell. And it included a very little amount of stimulus in there for the cows. Hence Cowcino, sirloin, the lobbyists for the cows who got it for them. This time around, last Sunday, we had been urging Mitch McConnell to put stimulus in the CR. And that became a reality 48 hours ago as Mitch McConnell confirmed that the CR will have stimulus in it, 1. 2, he will not be putting for a vote a standalone stimulus bill by itself because he says we don't have time. We're doing stimulus in the continuing resolution, the budget bill. That's all we're doing. 3, he unveiled what he wanted, which was a $500 billion bill that had 1 month of extension of UI, thank God, because UI expires in late December, has 1 month extension of PUA, thank God, that's expired in December, but did not have eviction moratorium, did not have mortgage forbearance, and did not have a stimulus check. It should not have FPUC because FPUC is required to should go back to July when it expired. That's 20-something weeks. It would cost too much money to do in this emergency bill. This is an emergency bill for emergency issues. FPUC can be done about 2 to 3 weeks from now in January. So all Mitch was missing was a stimulus check, eviction moratorium, which is so insanely critical. Every time I say this, I just want to jump through the camera. People are going to be evicted on January 1st because there will be no eviction protection nationally unless they have it locally in their local jurisdiction. You have to have an eviction moratorium. It doesn't cost anything to put it in the bill. And mortgage forbearance. Banks should not be allowed to foreclose on your home if you can't pay the mortgage because of the pandemic. That eviction moratorium is expired on December 31st as well. It costs nothing to put in the bill. 3 things put in Mitch's bill, we're done. The great news overnight is the president says, I'm supporting Mitch and I'm rejecting that junk. The junk that we all call junk that we're also rejecting. The president is absolutely on board with Mitch, and we knew this because Mitch McConnell had a press conference late yesterday. He said, you know what? I'm tired of all these senators talking about nonsense. Because when you're doing a budget bill, the person who has to sign the budget bill is the president. And we have very few days to work. We have only about 6 days to work. I went to the president and spoke to him face to face, which is a big thing because Mitch has not been to the White House in nearly half a year. He went to the president in the White House and said, "Sir, what would you like in the bill?" And they discussed it. And late yesterday, President Donald Trump says, "I support Mitch McConnell's drafting of the bill." Mitch McConnell has nothing in there for state and local bailouts from Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo. You wonder why the president supports the bill. Yes. So this morning, the fake narrative people came around. They went to bed telling nursery rhymes, and now they woke up telling more nursery rhymes. And who are these? The problem solvers. When did the problem solvers become the fairy tale solvers? They literally went on broadcast news, the problem solvers, and I'm going to call them out, no offense to each of them, but Representative Josh Gotham and co-chair Reed, whose first name I'm looking for, I can't find it in here, basically went, Tom Reed, both one's out of New York and one's out of New Jersey, both went on CNBC this morning and basically made up a fake narrative. First of all, they said they're really close and the president's going to agree to it. The president already said he's not agreeing to this. Second of all, they're taking credit for the Mitt Romney nonsense bill and say it's theirs. Okay, that's real nice. Then they say, you know what? This means we're really close. You look at where the Democrat leadership was. They were at 1.3. Now they're at $900 billion supporting this bill that we put together. We believe this is going to get done. No. The president has already rejected the $900 billion Romney bill. So let's see. $500 billion to $900 billion is $500 billion. When did $500 billion become really close? We got to 1.9 and 2.3, and now it's $200 billion apart. No, $150 billion apart. And now it's light years apart. And now $500 billion is really close. It's not really close, Josh and Tim. So, needless to say. So the problem solvers were everywhere talking today that this is their bill and that's going to get done. Needless to say, I'm sure there's going to be some videos today say, deal imminent, deal coming, deal wonderful, and let me run the problem solvers interview. It's just all wrong. Now, what do I think? This is what I think. You have to be very loud and clear, and you were doing a great job yesterday, Purple Power. This is why we are Purple Power. This is why there's 340,000, I always forget how many, 340,000 subscribers to this channel, 50,000 Instagram followers, 250, a quarter million Twitter followers. There's a reason why Purple Power is strong, because we don't play games. Hashtag stimulus checks or shutdown. Put the darn stimulus checks, eviction moratorium, and mortgage forbearance in the bill, Mitch. Call it a day, and we will get every support we can for you to get this done. And Mr. President and Mitch, stimulus checks, eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance in it, and we're done. And we will have a more normal holiday, knowing that we're not being evicted or foreclosed upon, and that we'll have a stimulus check in our hands. The stimulus check would arrive before Christmas as we sit here today. Let me go over the routing times. It takes 10 days to have it in your hand. If the bill is signed into law by the president on, let's say, December 6th, you would have the check by December 16th, December 17th. Now, please don't go to a calendar and look and say, oh, it's a Sunday. What are you talking about? I'm doing this off of calculations. It's 10 days at the day it becomes law. Now, if that 10 days is a Saturday afternoon, then you certainly understand it's the next Monday. I always have that comment. But that's a Sunday. How do we get mail on a Sunday? With that, let me turn to the money route right now. I want you to get this money right now because ultimately this stuff is just, it's crazy. I could expect in the next 2 hours it's going to change 15 times. Not with the president or Mitch, but everyone else. And what's important to understand is I'm getting you money right now. And I don't want you to fall into this narrative. And listen, you and I listen really carefully right now. There are some states where if you go to your city hall, your county hall, and your state housing authority, and you look in the correct places, you will find nothing. And then you'll say, there is nothing. But there is. So what's going on? There are certain organizations that are paying rent, and those organizations we now know across certain states and counties and cities across the country. And those organizations are doing an incredible job. That's the purpose of Purple Power Live every night at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time and the volunteers. When we go live on Purple Power Live, people jumping into the chat and saying, I got all my rent paid in Kentucky because of this organization. I got all my rent paid in Mississippi because of this organization. Back about a week ago in Houston, it was Catholic Charities that was paying the rent grants for Houston. Now, do not go to Catholic Charities in Houston's now, because now it's closed. That's how the power of this purple works. People were rushing and got it. Now it's closed. But in Houston, they've announced rent grants across the board, stimulus and things like that. Here are the cities and counties and states that have officially announced major stimulus relief for all of its citizens in the last few days. They are Houston, the city of Houston, the entire state of Colorado, the county of San Diego, and the entire state of New Mexico. If you want to know what your state of New Mexico is giving you, for example, go on any news site or open your local news channel's website, and they will detail it, because there have been hundreds of articles. There's no reason for me to go over what it is in New Mexico if you live in New Mexico, because there's hundreds of articles of what you're getting. Congratulations about all that stimulus you're getting. Meantime, there are, beyond those announcements for your state, your city, and county, from them, there are other charity organizations that are doing incredible things. Everything from paying your utilities to more. What's important to understand is that if you run into a blockade for rent, they're paying utilities nearly everywhere. I got 1,000 comments last night on Purple Power Live about Missouri. In Missouri, everyone's utilities are being paid if they need assistance in nearly every single county. You follow me so far? If you're having problems with rent, understand that some viewers have said no rent grants in Missouri from the government. I'm not talking about private organizations, from the government, with the exception of St. Louis County that is doing rent grants, says viewers. But there's utility grants everywhere. That's an example. LA County. We did the rent grant in LA County 2 months ago. I detail on this channel. So the LA County official city rent grant is exhausted, but there are private organizations that are paying rent grants in LA County. But your utility companies are all paying the rent, are all doing utility grants. So call them up. City Hall, County Hall, State Housing Authority. Then consider any other housing authority, because in example of New York City, they have a separate housing authority for the city that's paying rent grants in the last 24 hours. That's different from the State Housing Authority. You see how this is, you just have to sort of maneuver and you're going to get it. This is really great news. And if you do get it, please share the news so I can share it with other viewers about these strange nuances. Elsewhere, you need to also call all your utility companies and ask for that as well. Escalated benefits. I want you to do escalated benefits for unemployment if you made $18,000 or more in 2019. Call your Schedule C. Look at it. Get it on your phone or your computer digitally, however you want to get it, right? Taking a phone picture or scanning it. And then write a letter. Hi, Unemployment Office. Here I am. I qualify for additional weeks of benefits, I believe, based upon my 2019 tax return. Please take a look at it. Thank you so much. I'm currently getting paid this much per week. Thank you. God bless. Call them up the day after and the day after this. This is how much money you're going to get. If you've been on unemployment for 30-something weeks, and it doesn't matter if you were unemployed before and employed now. It's for the weeks you were unemployed. If you're unemployed for 30-something weeks and you made over $30,000, you're going to raise your benefits about $300, which will be $9,000, bam, right in your account. If you raise your unemployment, if you made $25,000 or more, you're going to raise your weekly benefits about $100 a week, which will be $3,000, bam, right in your account. And if you raise your unemployment benefits, if you made $18,000 or more, in 2019, you raise your benefits about $50 a week, $1,500, bam, right in your account. You can do this along with the CARES Act 1 stuff that I talk about on this channel, so don't assume you can only do one or the other. And you can also do EIDL if you are a PUA recipient of unemployment benefits. For EIDL, get it done very quickly and simply. Before you start, make sure you check your Experience Advantage 5.0 Experience Advantage 3.0 score, ensure it's 570 or higher. And when it is 570 or higher, get it in. Do not mess up numbers. Watch Evening's Check last night video. In that, I detail very extensively how to get the application on file quickly and simply, and you'll get paid within 24 hours. Coming up next is Holidays LA with a surprise twist. As always, thank you for joining me. Have a great morning and join me throughout the day with some surprise broadcasts because it is Throwback Thursday. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay in LA for more.